Hey everyone, Chad Frantzen, and welcome to the Kingdom Finance Show. Hey, on today's program, I want to share some specific thoughts on everything that's been happening in media world and politics world here in the United States this past week. As you know, we had the attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump, followed by a lot of conspiracy and ongoing investigation as to how something like that could have even happened by a lone ranger person without some type of inside help. Anyway, I'm not going to speculate on that on today's show, but what I want to cover today, I want to revisit this concept of, particularly in light of what's happened with Trump and the assassination attempt and just everything, this misinformation, just this spewing of hatred and lies by the media. And really, in a separate episode, I'll talk more about how I think we should respond as kingdom entrepreneurs and kingdom investors. But on today's program, what I want to share is some information about a particular company. Now, I've encouraged many of you, all of you, if you've followed us through Wealthbuilders Investments or followed us through the Kingdom Finance Show, I've encouraged you to take a hard, long look at your investment portfolio, whether it's your retirement account, your college savings account, whatever it is, like the dollars that you're investing in the stock market. We've encouraged you to really look at what type of companies you are supporting. Now, if you just put your money in a mutual fund or an index fund, you're really investing in the broad market. Now, that being said, I want to encourage us in light of everything going on, particularly with the Trump attempted assassination and the pending 2024 presidential election in the U.S., we have got to, as a company of conservative investors, we have got to take the opportunity and the time and make the commitment not only to vote for conservative values and to vote for biblical values, right, but also to make some conscious choices for our personal investments, the companies and ministries and churches that we're a part of. If we're involved in the financial decisions there, we have got to stop investing in companies like the New York Times and like Comcast, who owns MSNBC, and Time Warner, who owns CNN and Facebook and Google, and the list goes on and on. But I'm particularly highlighting these media companies because a lot of this misinformation, this kind of pitting citizens with liberal views against conservative views, that is what is really spewing up into what could get much worse in our countries. And it was terrible last week. It is a very sad day to see what appears to be, a conspiracy to kill President Trump. Now, what I want to talk about is, interestingly, there's a wealth management company called Austin Private Wealth, and I was doing some research on this week, and they shorted some 12 million shares of DJT. And if you don't know what the ticker symbol DJT is, that is Donald Trump's media company, Social. That is the publicly traded company for that. Now, they took on a huge short position. And in fact, the size of the trade that this company, Austin Private Wealth, put on leading up to the July 13th Trump rally in Pennsylvania was significant. So significant that they were buying options, what are called put options, that if a stock price goes down, then the underlying investor is going to profit significantly to the level of how much that stock price goes down. Well, there appears to have been some inside information as to putting on this massive, what we call short position against Donald Trump's media company. DJT is the ticker symbol. And that happened just leading up to the July 13th Pennsylvania rally. It's called Trump Media and Technology Group. The symbol's DJT. You can look that up. Now, this management company, Austin Private Wealth, they have about $1 billion in assets under management. But this one trade that they put on, it's a significant trade in respect to the amount of assets they manage, but it also represented like 5 or 6% of the total amount of shares of Trump Media Group. Now, this is a huge bet, right? Now, what makes this very peculiar is the timing of this and also who the shareholders are of Austin Private Wealth. And actually, some of the companies that are involved with them include some very familiar names. Now, a lot of this is floating around the internet and social media, and the company has come out to say that they made a clerical error on this, but usually where there's smoke, there is fire on that. So you do have to make SEC public filings for these type of trades, and it does show that they made this trade on there. So very curious for that. And one of the things that they also talk about is what companies are involved in ownership of this Austin Private Wealth. And wouldn't you know that BlackRock and George Soros have ownership stakes in Austin Private Wealth. Now, I find that very peculiar, very strange, to say the least, on that. And did we not also find out that BlackRock had just come out with a commercial that actually was highlighting a school in Pennsylvania that the shooter that he was in that commercial. Now they've since pulled that in the wake of the botched assassination attempt. But this is not the first time that this has happened in Wall Street. We saw this. There are always insider groups that have information. It's what we call insider trading. It's not legal. It's not supposed to be allowed to happen. And this happened leading up to 9/11. This happened leading up to the Israel war that broke out October 6th of last year. But this one, this is really fascinating. And this is something that we need to be aware of like there are people out there who have information about a planned assassination attempt against former President Trump and are actually going out on the stock market to make potentially millions and billions of dollars. Now, when the assassination attempt failed, the Austin Private Wealth closed their position, cut their losses because they didn't make this huge amount of money that they thought they would make if Donald Trump indeed was killed at the Pennsylvania rally. Now, I just find it too much of a coincidence that BlackRock and George Soros are shareholders in this wealth management company. Now, the company, to my knowledge, I do not know them personally. Just from what I've researched online, they have said it was a clerical error for what they did. But make no mistake about it. We live in an uncertain time in an uncertain world, and each of us must release our voice through how we vote, what we share about our faith and our beliefs and about our patriotism to the United States of America. And when it comes to our investment dollars, you have the opportunity. And right now is a significant opportunity in the history of our country to take back our freedoms in how we vote, in how we have our children educated, and in how we invest our money. So I wanted to share this one example that came out with this shorting of Trump Media Group leading right up to the Pennsylvania Trump rally on July 13th. And I think it's no coincidence that these things were put in place by a company that's backed by BlackRock and George Soros. Now, what I want to encourage us to do is, as Kingdom investors, we have to take a look at what are your brokerage accounts, your retirement accounts, your college savings accounts, your 403B at your church, your 401k at your work. What is it invested in? And what I want to challenge you is to actually take time, because this matters. It matters for us to vote. It matters for us to be involved in our community with values that are biblically based and pro-family. It also matters that your dollars that you work hard for to invest in, that they are not going into the Comcasts of the world, the New York Times of the world, the Google, the Facebook, right? The Time Warner. Like, do you want your investment dollars to be supporting the profitability of MSNBC and CNN and the New York Times, Google, Facebook, and others? Because I believe that the media is so set out on just creating chaos, on creating there's just this demonic spirit on media to where it's really wanting to pit good people against other good people. We can agree to disagree. There used to be a time in the United States where a person could be a Republican and a person could be a Democrat. You could disagree on matters and you still sat around the table for a meal. You still work together. You can still have these conversations. Now, I really believe the media and what Satan has done with the media in our country is really exploiting people, to radicalize people, to get people to not walk in unity, to not be okay if we disagree on something. And so with that in mind, my challenge to you is, let's make sure our investment dollars are not in all of these mega media companies that are hell-bent on destroying conservative values, and they're hell-bent on destroying our country just so that they can have subscribers and they can have good ratings, because they're just selling chaos. And so one of the things we've done at our investment management company, Wealthbuilders Investments, is we have created a equity model. We call it a pro values equity model. And we've gone in and we have scraped clean off of the portfolio all of these companies we call woke, we call them liberal, we call them, focusing on all these liberal agendas. But these companies that I'm highlighting in today's show, these mega media companies, we've talked about the banks in the past and how we need to not be investing in some of these big mega banks who are not protecting our privacy or our beliefs and our charitable desires, the Bank of Americas, the Chases of the world. But today, I want to highlight Wealthbuilders Investments. We do have an equity portfolio. We'll be happy to share more with you about that, where we have taken, the market, if you will, the stock market in the United States, and taken all of these companies out. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of them. Specifically, the media companies, if we stop watching their shows, stop following their social media, and if we stop investing in the shares of these public companies, right? That is how we can affect change, among many other things. So want to encourage you with that. I share that story about the Donald Trump Media Group because money affects all the mountains of culture, and it certainly moves through the political mountains significantly. And it's this evil hand that is behind much of this. And this one example of this shorting Donald Trump's media group leading up to the Trump rally is just another reminder to us that we live in a world at war, and we must choose to fight. We must choose to educate those around us, and we need to walk in unity, even with people that disagree with us. Right? We don't need to fight fire with fire. So my call to action to you as I wrap up this program today, I'm going to keep this one short, is I want you to take a look at your investment accounts, your retirement accounts, your brokerage accounts, your college savings accounts. And if you're not sure, if you have money invested in these companies that are sowing hate and misinformation and lies in the media just to get Americans upset at each other and get Americans to do things that they shouldn't do, to radicalize us, then I want you to reach out to us. And so you can contact us at the show. You can also go to wealthbuilders.net/invest. That's wealthbuilders.net/invest, and reach out to us through that. And then we'll send you our Pro Values Index report of top 30 companies to boycott, as well as top 30 companies to support. And we'll be happy to do what's called an X-ray of any of your accounts. There's no obligation, there's no cost, to make sure that if you have these type of media companies that are sowing all this division and hate, that you get those out of your accounts as soon as possible. Again, there's a lot of money behind some of these movements, and what's happening in the election cycle right now, what's happening in the Democratic Party and with the media groups. We need to do our part as best we can. So with that, I want to wish you well. God bless. Please reach out to us. Again, the Wealthbuilders investments model is designed for exactly what's happening right now in culture, to make sure that our money does not support these radicalized large corporations that are against everything that America was founded on as a country, and against conservative values of the Bible as well. So with that, I'm Chad Frantzen. Thank you for joining me on the Kingdom Finance.
Thank you so much for joining me today on the Kingdom Finance Show. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps to get the word out. For more resources on becoming a Kingdom investor and to connect with us directly, visit our website at wealthbuilders.net. That's wealthbuilders.net. We'll see you next time on the Kingdom Finance Show. The content provided is for educational purposes only. We encourage you to seek personalized investment advice from your financial professional. For all tax and legal advice, please consult your CPA or attorney. Investment advisory services are offered through Authentic Counsel, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Cabin Securities, a registered broker-dealer. The content of this podcast does not constitute an offer of securities. Offerings can only be made through an offering memorandum, and you should carefully examine risk factors and other information contained in the memorandum.